may not necessarily be the goals of your mentee. So you might have to fall back and reassess what your goals are, because you might be looking at your goals in a more unrealistic way. You got to tailor your goals to tailor the goals of what you see in your mentee, of what the realism of the situation is, right? And so I think the one problem with mentorship is, first of all, the way it's done is very Eurocentric. They kind of throw two people together that don't know each other from Adam, and they call it a mentor program. But mentoring really is more organic, right? It's more about two people kind of just like human beings, whether they're young or old, they connect. And I think people are just assume like we're just black men, so we should just automatically click up. That's some bullshit.
All day.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the one thing I find wrong with it, is that it's not an organic process. Two, is mentoring should never be one-on-one. You should always be mentored in a group. So what happens, what we take on is like a very kind of westernized version of mentorship, when mentorship should be more how it is in Western Africa, where it's about a group of men mentoring young men. That way, if one of the men falls out of the group, the relationship's not over.
Right.
So if you were allowed to just say, let's just use hypothetically, all three of us are mentoring Alex. First of all, it gets three different perspectives from three different men about life.
He benefits
right?
more.
He benefits more.
Right.
If one of us decide that we can't show up one day, you know what I'm saying, or we get a job, we got to move to California or South Africa or wherever, the relationship continues. Because if you leave, it's still me and Shay. We still rock out. You understand? And so when I was here in Philadelphia, when Johnson was our commissioner, and they were like, yo, it's the push to have 10,000 mentors for 10,000 kids. I'm like, yo, that's the most twisted logic ever. Because you should get 10,000 men, but you should have 2,500 kids. You should have 2,500 of the kids that's out here that's about to be shooters. They need to be matched up with 10,000. And there's 4 dudes to every kid.
Could you imagine a kid getting that close to one of their mentors? They just up and leave.
And then and then imagine you got 4 in your ear. And one call you, and then you don't feel the pressure.
And
it's a lot of pressure.
That abandonment won't be the same, because if I abandon you, feel like I abandoned you, then you feel like I did the same thing your pop did to you.
So basically through this form, you create almost a family style form of mentorship. So no one man feels totally obligated to have the pressure of always taking, this young brother out or this boy out all the time. Like, it doesn't just fall on him. And then while he's not here, all 3 of us could build about what we want to do. All right, this is what we're going to do this week. And then we do it collectively. And the way we do it collectively, we kind of learn from each other too.
That's a different level right there, though. Because even for me, like, even then with me doing the speaking, writing the book, and taking this lane that I'm taking, I still feel like I need a mentor, right? I would love to have a mentor, but I feel like, but then I just chalked it up as, what, God, if that was for me, then you would have had it for me. So I guess I had to be the mentor versus the mentee. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I started looking at things, because I feel like there's no age limit on what a mentor could be to a person, because we all got that thing that we're trying to accomplish,
Some of your mentors could be your friends.
Yeah, no doubt.
And shout out to Chris, and he's probably going to listen to this show. Chris created this, Dr. St. Ville created this concept called cross-cohort socialization, which basically means that we assume that a mentor needs to be like the person you get influenced by is 10 or 20 years older than you. But a lot of times the generations now more collapse. So even in like the mentoring in a group, right? There's no egocentric person in the middle. It's just all of us together. So you know what I'm saying? I'm in my 40s, like they 40s, you in your early 40s, Chase 30, Chris is 40. You know what I'm saying? We're mentoring each other. Then we bring another person in. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, let's say Kelly. I just talked to Kelly yesterday. That's why I'm bringing his name up. So we bring in Kelly in his 50s. We bring in somebody that's in their 80s, somebody in their 60s, and we all in one group. You know what I'm saying? So we're getting mentored across generations by different people.
Right.
right? And if one person leaves the group, it doesn't end.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem with the westernized,
mastermind group.
Yeah, that's the problem with westernized mentoring, right?
I never thought about that. Well, you just really put me on my head, dog. Because I've never looked at mentorship, because I've always looked at it from the westernized type of perspective. It got to be this person, particularly a successful person, to then in turn show you what success is, But now I look at it because success is all perspective.
Yeah,
you know
it's
what I'm
relative.
saying? It's definitely relative.
Yeah.
So, but growing up, I thought that's what it was. You know what I'm saying? But now, I mean, you really just kind of put it in the joint and shook it up, like hold up, because like that's definitely a really cool way to look at it. You know,
and not to cut you off, it's crazy because me and Doc, we always say that, like even on Instagram, I call the professor, the rebel. I mean, that's the names that I use. You know what I mean? But it's crazy because we bounce off each other. You know what I mean? Our energy, I get energy from him. He gets energy from me. You understand what I'm saying?
energy is everything. And
that's how we continue to balance each other out, and that's how we grow.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? I remember Doc. I think he was flying to Tampa for the Invisible Wounds project.
Yeah.
I remember he asked me. He was like, "What did he say? How did you feel? How did you feel when you got stabbed up?" And I was like, I went from what did I say? I went from a
38 to 45.
I went from a 38 to a 45. You know what I mean? Just by me giving him that little bit of information, he's able to now go back and have a whole research project around it. You know what I mean? A whole I don't want to say proposal. What's the correct word, Doc? Presentation. You know what I mean? That's just us vibing. That's just us talking. You know what I mean? And I think that once again, when black men stick together and we pull each other up, we're the most powerful humanity possible. You know what I mean? Can't nobody touch us.
Oh man,
Can't.
I mean, if we stick together,
Yeah, that's it.
that's the kryptonite though that they know. They know that's the part of the game. Separate them.
Separate them.
Separate them.
Separate and divide.
Yeah, separate them.
Yeah.
Get that man blue. Get that man red.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Get that man his block. Get this man his block, which we don't own.
Not enough. Man.
Right? We don't own none of it.
Right.
And then give him a gun and give him a pack.
Right.
And so going on that pack, let's talk about that.
Right.
You got that pack.
Yeah.
And then you got locked up for it.
It's funny you say the pack. There's a book called The Pack.
Yeah.
That I love.
Yeah.
I feel like that book is like a phenomenal book because, you know, what they did for the four of them and for all four of them to become doctors, I'm like, yo, like, I wish I had that pack. You know what I mean? Like that was like, you know, and everything they went through and still came out successful to all become doctors. I'm like, yo, these dudes is phenomenal.
But I'm talking about I'm talking about PACK.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I'm with that too. You talking about the pack.
Yeah, so in the book, you talk about...
you talking about that.
That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
You want to go spin it like that?
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to spin it. That's why I said talking about pack.
So you gotta be careful.
Yo, let me tell you
talking about pack. Hey, to go on that.
Listen, let me tell you, man. Since I put this book out, man, I've been on multiple shows, man. I've probably been on at least 15, maybe 30 different shows, man, talking. And what I want to say, man, is I appreciate the fact that you felt, even though you was like, man, this book, I ain't going, but you decided to actually read it. Because I haven't been on any shows where I really talked about the book itself. Like, people pull
you come on here, man. You see my notes.
Yeah. They pulling content and asking me about the content in the book, so I appreciate and respect you for that, man. Thank you. But as far as the pack, man, that was one of those things that, I had access. I'm going to use it because I got access to get it, but didn't really think it out.
So you said you rode with your man to Philly, right? Which was crazy because I know everywhere you was talking about. You went to the City Line Fridays, which used to be Allen Iverson's club. You know what I'm saying? You went to the city, and you mentioned champagnes. We're going to talk about that later. But yeah, so you mentioned that you go to Fridays. Your man gets hit with the pack. Y'all roll back to Maryland and VA, and the next thing you know, you trying to get the pack.
Right. So I shot home. I'm like, I put the call in and went home and got me a pack, and came back and just made bad moves from there. You know what I'm saying? But so here's the thing. At the time, I felt like it was a bad move. And it was. But it was a needed move. And the reason why I say it was a needed move, because I feel like if I wouldn't have gone through that situation and that experience, then I wouldn't be here sitting here talking to you, right? I believe nothing happens by chance. Everything happens for a reason and purpose behind it. Nothing just haphazardly happens to you. This is Richard Dwight Sutton's take, right? And I think that experience, I was about to get 35 to 40 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, like, I'm sitting here like, dude, 35 to 40. And for the way things panned out for me to walk away from that with just 2 years of probation and get it expunged, I knew that was nothing but a bigger, higher calling. You know what I'm saying? Then I didn't. Now I know. Then I didn't think about it. I didn't even think about how blessed I was. And that I don't think I could even conceptualize how blessed I was to get away from it. Because how many of us get in the judicial system on a drug charge? And mind you, they was in my house with they had the dogs and everything. They was in my house, like it was like 8 of them in the house. You know what I'm saying? And I remember when they let me out that night, it was a black guard, and he looked at me. He said, "Listen, dog." He said, "I don't know if you recognize